just wanted to say thanks for coming out. Appreciate the support that you guys are providing today, and we'll continue to provide for the program throughout the season. We're excited about getting started and excited about this new era of Rutgers women's basketball. And so again, I appreciate your support and covering us and writing great stories with lots of positive verbs that I know you guys are going to use. So with that, if you guys have any questions, I'd be happy to answer them.
Coquese, just generally the last 5 months.
I can't hear you.
Sorry, the last 5 months, what have they been like for you? Just taking over the job, filling out the roster, getting your feet under you. What have the last 5 months been like for you?
Yeah, the last 5 months have been really busy, to say the least. The timing of the hire, essentially getting the job in June, there's a lot of work that we had to do to get ready for the big July recruiting weekend and getting the staff together. And so it was really busy trying to get our staff together, get everybody transition on campus. But we finally did that. But in fact, it wasn't until I want to say September 1st that our entire staff was actually together in one room and able to really start working together in person. But before that, it was Zooms and phone calls and people here and people there and moving and trying to find a house and a school for kids and all that good stuff. But it's been a good busy. And one thing that I've learned very early on is there's so many good people here at Rutgers, helpful people, and doing everything they can to support our transition as a staff.
Handle two microphones at once. So my question to you is simply, as you look at the roster right now, as you're getting ready for preseason and the opener, where do you feel the roster is at this point?
Well, there's no question we've got a short roster of 8 players. So that will in some ways dictate what we can do and what we can't do in terms of how long you practice and rotations and things of that nature. But what I will say is I have been so blown away with these 8 young ladies and how they've embraced our team and embraced our coaching staff and embraced our style of play. They didn't choose me, and they didn't ask Coach Stringer to retire. So if anybody, the 7 returners and KB are one transfer, but they're all kind of been thrown into this, and their attitude and their effort to doing the things the way we've asked them to do has been off the charts. And it's been a very pleasant transition for our staff to work with them and to coach them, to try to develop them, to teach them, to grow and develop our culture as we're trying to do. They've been phenomenal. I couldn't imagine it being any better. So our numbers are what they are. And, fortunately for me, I've been a part of teams and rosters, short rosters, just 2 years ago, just last year with Notre Dame, we had a roster of 8. And one of those 8 was hurt most of the year. So for a lot of the times we played with 7 players. So it's just a matter of managing them day to day to keep everybody healthy. That's the big key. We got to keep everybody healthy. In terms of how they play, we're still in discovery mode. We've had, really, a week and a half of practice. So we're still developing and discovering who we are as players on the court. But so far, the effort and the attention and the intensity to doing things the way we're asking has been off the charts.
Coach, talking about, a smaller roster with a lot of turnover, I was curious about your opinion, 2 players in perspective, and, in particular, China Cornwell and Erica Lafayette, who have both been here for multiple years. Could you talk about the importance of having them here to kind of take some of the newer players under their wings?
Yeah, Erica and China really have been fantastic in terms of helping that transition. I think in particular, those 2 stepped forward right away and just said, hey, Coach, tell us what you want to do. And we got you. We'll do it. And because those 2 started out that way and have remained that way, I think that certainly has set the tone for the rest of the team, all the other newcomers coming in. So those two have really been remarkable in their leadership in that sense.
Coach, you've got two freshmen on this team, Kayleen and Antonia, both really talented coming out of high school. What sort of impact do you think they'll be able to make this year?
I think they both have the potential to be really strong impact players for us. One thing about Kayleen is a little bit fearless. She is the little bit that we've practiced, like she goes in all in, and you kind of like that, that fearlessness. She doesn't know that the certain things that she's not supposed to do, or the shots she's not supposed to take, or things of that nature. Antonia is a really skilled forward. She can shoot it. She's got a good vision, great, very good passer. They both have to adjust to the speed of college, the strength of the college game. But I think they'll make those adjustments, and I think they're going to be big impact players for us this year.
As you mentioned, this is a new era for the team. So as a coach, but also as a team, what are some of the goals you hope to accomplish heading into this new season?
Well, this year for us is really about one main thing, and that's establishing our culture. We're in it for long-term success. And so there's no shortcut to that. You have to build a strong foundation, so that the program can build and grow off that. So this year for us is all about building our culture, establishing our culture, building it and growing it with the players that we have. We also want to establish our style of play. We're going to play up tempo. We like to play fast, and we're gonna work to do that and make that visible on game day. How fast all of this stuff happens, I don't have an answer for that. I sometimes think people want an answer for that. I don't have an answer for how fast our culture is gonna be solid. I don't have an answer for how fast they're gonna really adapt to a different style of play. I mean, all these kids came here, with the exception of KB. They all came to play for Coach Stringer, who plays a different game, than I did. So I don't know how long that transition is gonna take hold on game day. I hope it takes hold like tomorrow, but I don't know. But we're gonna be committed to it. We're gonna be committed to our culture, committed to our style of play, and try to have fun doing it this year.
Just logistically, with the roster having 8 players,
Sorry.
Logistically, the roster only having 8 players, do you plan on having walk-on tryouts or anything of that nature to fill out the rest of the roster, or do you plan on just rolling with these 8 players?
Yeah, we're gonna have walk-on tryouts, and and hopefully we can grab 1 or 2 players through the walk-on process and see if they can contribute to the team. Absolutely. We'd love to get up to 10. But if that doesn't happen, we're confident in the 8 that we have, that our staff, our weight room, Glenn Kane and our strength and conditioning program, and Jess Kinder, our trainer, we're confident that, they'll keep us healthy.
Having just the 8 players, do you feel like they've maybe bonded and formed a relationship a little bit quicker than if it was a larger team with everyone coming in at one time?
Yeah, they have really bonded. Like, they talk about it all the time, how close they are. They have great times together outside of practice, outside of the things we do as a team. When we've brought other people around our program, that's one of the things they talk about, is the chemistry that the young ladies seem to have off the court. And I think that will definitely transfer onto the court. I will say this, we're a quiet team. They're quiet on the court. Now, if we were in a TikTok competition, we'd probably finish first place in terms of being loud. But they're a pretty quiet team, so we're working on that, them being a little bit more vocal on the court.
Regarding your assistants, Tasha, Nikki, and John, can you talk about what 3 of them bring to the table here with the team that's rebuilding?
Man, those 3, John, Nikki, and Tasha, it's one thing when you think you've brought in good people, and then when you live with them every day and you see their work ethic and you see the contributions that they bring, and I was blessed beyond measure to have those three. I am blessed beyond measure to have those three on staff. Their work ethic is incredible. Their network of contacts nationally is impressive. Between the three of them, they know everybody. They know everybody. And they're fantastic recruiters. So we've been able to get out and establish ourselves and establish this program nationally from a recruiting standpoint. The way they've been able to make the connections with the current team and how much better we've grown over the summer from a skill development standpoint is to me really quite impressive. So I can't speak highly enough of the three of them and what they've brought to the table and how they've really helped us hit the ground running as a coaching staff.
Coach, can you just talk about the out-of-conference schedule as well as then getting into the Big Ten and just what your expectations are for the team this season?
Yeah, when I look at our non-conference schedule, it's kind of a twofold thing. Number one, it's awesome that we have the level of competition that we have. Just naming a few of the teams off my head. Competing with Seton Hall, playing a tough Princeton team, going down into the Bahamas and being in the bracket with Tennessee, UCLA, and San Diego, South Dakota State. I think we're going to be challenged every week on the court. And you like that kind of challenge because it's going to set us up for the rigors of Big Ten play. And the Big Ten is a deep conference. It's got so many high-quality players. When you look at how many of those players were drafted last year and then how many came back, Iowa's got, two probably All-Americans on their roster, and Maryland with Diamond Miller, and so on and so forth. So we know our conference is going to be really tough. And we start off with, Ohio State at home, which, they got a lot of votes for first team in the conference in preseason. So the goal for us is really quite simple. It's not about looking at where we're going to be in December or where we're going to be in February. It's really about getting better and becoming more cohesive game by game. So I know it really sounds like cliche and all this kind of stuff, but when you've got a new team, and I have no idea what to expect from them on game day. So I would be remiss to say this is what I want out of this team in January when I've got to see what they're going to do on game day. I got to see how what we're asking of them transfers to game day. And so from that perspective, it's really going to be about, okay, this is what happened in Hofstra. How do we get better for the next game and the next game and the next game? So many firsts for this team. Non-conference to, when we go to the Bahamas, it's going to be the first time these 8 have played 3 games in a row. So how do we respond to that? And how do we coach them after that? So it's not, I'm not like avoiding any questions, but I really have to learn this team and learn who our leaders are going to be on game day and who are the players that we're going to be able to count on game day. And just right now, I don't have those answers yet. But I do like our schedule. I do think it's going to prepare, our non-conference schedule is going to prepare us for Big Ten play. And if we can get better game by game, month by month, I think we have a shot to do some things in conference play.
Coach, having seen your teams in the past play against and beat Rutgers, talented Rutgers teams, I know you do like to get out and run as much as possible, but at the end of the day, your teams were just as successful in the half court. Your teams usually had the traditional spots, point, small guard, or point guard, shooting guard, power, and small forward center. With this 8 players you have now, do you think early on, I understand you just said that, hey, you got to learn these players. Looking at your team, do you think you'll have enough players to kind of naturally slot in those positions, or do you think you're really going to have to start tweaking your offense to kind of build around what you have?
Well, that's a great question, and I think the answer to that is both. I've been really pleasantly surprised by some of the versatility of the players that we have, and I think that's going to be a good thing for us. So we can move people around, even though we don't necessarily have the traditional positions. So that gives us a little bit of versatility. It gives our players an opportunity also to not be put into a box, right? So I'm really excited about that, the versatility and how we can move people around and maybe keep other teams off balance a little bit. As they grow and become a little bit more comfortable with playing in our system, we can do a variety of things in terms of who's handling the ball. We've got multiple ball handlers. We might, be doing point guard by committee. What do we look like inside? It might not be, somebody sitting on the block for 40 minutes, but it might be moving them away from the basket and utilizing their ball handling and shooting ability as a forward on the perimeter. So we've got a lot of versatility and pieces that we can move around. And as we start to settle in on what everybody is best at, then we can move those pieces around in our offense. So it's kind of exciting to have that versatility.
Coach.
Yep.
Coach, one more thing in regards to the schedule. Obviously, you guys start off with 4 home games. You talked about Seton Hall. How important is that going to be just for you guys to get in sync playing at home before the really difficult schedule kicks in?
Yeah, I've coached on the other side in that building, and it is tough. It is so hard to play here in front of this fan base. And I'm confident that the fan base will come out early and give us a home court advantage so that we can gain some confidence early, playing at home, playing in front of, again, like as I said, a great fan base, showcasing, our style of play. Showcasing players playing in different positions and doing things, the versatility that they have. So that four game homestand, I think, is important, and hopefully we can take advantage of it.
What has that atmosphere and energy been like since practices started?
Oh, the atmosphere and the energy, it's been really good. I would say the team has been really focused, right? They've been really focused on trying to embrace the things that we're asking them to do. They've been really focused. Very high energy. Erica and China in particular are very high energy players. You hear their voices a lot. Awa has really started to come alive and be very vocal for us. But I would say it's been fun. If I had to say one word about practice, it's been a lot of fun. I've enjoyed it. It goes by fast. So yeah, it's been a lot of fun being in practice.
Any final questions for Coach?
As you know, you're following two.
I can't hear you at all.
You're following 2 Hall of Fame coaches. Are we going to see a third?
Man, I'm just trying to make sure I got chewing gum in practice right now. I don't even know about Hall of Fame. So, but I will tell you, it's such an honor. It's surreal in so many ways because I know Coach Stringer and I know Coach Grentz. So I know they're Hall of Fame coaches, right? But to me, that's Coach Stringer and Coach Grentz, and they're always giving me little bits of advice. So, I don't think of following in the steps of 2 Hall of Famers. I look at it as following in the steps of 2 mentors who I respect so much, and I don't want to let them down. I don't want to let what they've accomplished with this program. I don't want to let them down at all. I want to make sure we keep the standard as high as they kept, as high as they established it. So it's more so about people you love, right? And they give you something that's important to them. And you want to protect it, and you want to take care of it, and you want to polish it, and you want to, make sure it stays shiny until you pass it on to the next person. And that's my perspective. And I've got a chance to talk to Coach Stringer. I've gotten a chance to talk to Coach Grentz a couple of times, and they've done nothing but support me and, always tell me, if you got any questions, let me know. They've been around so many years. They know where all the bodies are buried. They know all the secrets. So it's just really an honor to follow behind them and to try to live up to what they've done. And for me personally, it doesn't matter what outside people think in terms of should you get this award or that award. What matters to me is at the end of the day, if Coach Grentz and Coach Stringer look at me and say, you did it, then I'm good with that.